As promised, I'm back to make another video regarding assignments 5 and 6, how to complete them and get them ready for submission so that you can get a grade and credit. So we left off in our last video. I was showing you guys how to search in Google the different topics associated with the research question. We're going to pick right back up from there. I'm just opening up my Schoology, right, so that we can revisit the question for assignments 5 and 6. Again, that question is, how can young people use social media, technology, and other communication tools to bring positive changes to communities around the world? So remember, I kind of broke my search up. First, I searched the whole question, and then I searched the question taking out this part, technology and other communication tools, and then I searched the question taking out social media and other communication tools. So I came up with a variety of different resources and articles that I can read and research to help give me ideas to put in my presentation. Now we're going to talk about the overall organization and formatting of the presentation itself. So remember, this presentation is being put together as a Google Slide PowerPoint. So the first thing I'm going to show you in this video is how to access Google Slides according to the step-by-step instructions that we find here. So under the resources for Make an Impact Presentation, you see this link, how to use Google Slides. I'm just going to go ahead and click this, and it's going to open in a new window or new tab. Here, there are steps 1, 2, and 3, right? It explains how to create my presentation, how to edit and format my presentation, as well as how to share my work with others. Now, we all know that the way that you guys are sharing your work is that you're submitting it in Schoology for credit, okay? So really, steps 1 and 2 will be most useful. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to open the Slides home screen at slides.google.com. So when you click that link, it opens up a new tab. Step 2 says in the top left, under Start a New Presentation, click the plus. This will open your new presentation. So when I go back, I see Start a New Presentation, and I click the plus, and it gives me a new presentation. So the first thing I'm going to do, right, because there's no title here, is I'm going to title my presentation. As always, we start with WMS, and this assignment is called Make an Impact Presentation. Okay, and this one is going to be my draft. So I'm going to title this one draft, and then I'm going to put an underscore, and I'm going to type my name to make this my own. Okay, now here you see they give me only one slide to start with. Up here it looks like there's some options to explore different themes. So let's see what happens if I click on this. So when I click on the different themes, it changes the background of my presentation. So I have a few options. All right, it looks like there's tons of options you can choose. When you're choosing your background, make sure that whatever print you use, you can actually see it on the background. So it's not hidden or it's not too distracting from the presentation itself. So you have lots of options to choose from. Choose a theme to start, okay? Then let's go through, let's see what other steps they give us in the instructions. So here, these are steps on how to insert and arrange text, shapes, and lines. This is information on how to add, delete, and organize slides. I'm going to show you that too. And then if you really want to get fancy, this is how you add animations to a slide. This part is not a requirement, but if you want to do it, or if you know how to do it already, you can definitely go ahead and do it. So here we are with one slide available. Now, if I want to add a slide, you see I just navigate right up here to new slide. I can click the plus button and it'll give me a new slide. Or if I click the arrow, it'll show me different slide layout options. So I can actually choose what I want my slide to look like. So imagine I'm comparing two things, or maybe I'm listing my examples and I want a slide that looks like this, right? Something for example 1 and example 2. You can select what you want your slide to look like specifically by going up here and selecting the slide layout and clicking. If you just click the plus button, it's going to give you another one of the same slide. So it's better, right? Whatever, when you click plus, it's going to give you whatever your last slide was. So notice I selected this one, and when I clicked plus, it gave me the same one again. So keep that in mind. If you want to delete a slide, you see it's highlighted, you can just press backspace, or you can right click and select delete. You have different ways to delete. So you can just select it and press backspace, or you can select it and right click delete. All right, let's talk about how to actually write on a slide. So if this is gonna be my first slide, this is probably gonna be my introduction slide where I'm going to put the title of my assignment and my name here, right? So that's how you write on the actual boxes in the slide. You just click within the box and then you write. Let's talk about what to do if you have a slide, if say you insert a slide that doesn't have anything on it. You insert a blank slide and you want to put some things on it. So say, for example, you want to insert some text. This right here, the T, it allows you to insert a text box. You can drag it and drop, and you can just start typing in your box. You see how this is really small? If you want to make it bigger, you just select your text, and these three dots will give you more options. So I can make my text bigger by going here to font size. Okay. Select it. All right, so that makes it a little bit bigger so that you can see it, okay? Let's see, what else can I do to my text? If I want to make my text a different color, I go here where it says text color. I can make it red, I can make it blue, I can make it pink, right? There are different colors that you can use. I can also make it bold so that it stands out. I can italicize it so that it's slanted. If I want to emphasize a word, I might do this, or I can underline it to also emphasize a word. So you have a couple of different options for text, right? So notice I can make my text box wider. So lots of different options, kind of you just have to play around with it. If I want to, for example, insert a list, there is a numbered list or there's a bulleted list. Let's see what happens if I insert a number list, right? It gives me a list. Okay, if I just click enter, it'll go down to number 2, number 3, so on and so forth. So that's what a numbered list looks like. Let's say I want to include a bulleted list. Then I'll click the 3 dots and I'll select bulleted list instead, and it'll give me a bullet. See? So that's kind of how those options work, okay? And you can change the color on these as well. You can change the font size on them. You can make them bold, italicized, or underlined. You can make them all 3. You have different options. If it's highlighted yellow, that means it's selected. To unselect it or deselect it, you just click it again, right? If I wanted to, so right now this is aligned for the left center. And I know that because when I select my alignment, it's on the center. So if I wanted to, or no, it's on the left. If I wanted to put it in the middle, I would click center alignment and it would move. If I wanted to align it to the right, I click right alignment and it will move. So you have options to move your alignment of your text as well. And you do that by going here where it says align, okay? Now let's talk about the background color. If I wanted to put some background color within a text box, I would make sure the text box is selected, and then I would go here where it says fill color and I would select a color. I don't want to do that though, because it kind of makes it hard to read. Okay, let's talk about if I wanted to change my background. So here I'll click background. I have lots of color options. Again, a palette. I can make it green. So I have lots, an option there to change that background. Let's see what happens if I add to theme. That changes the background of all of my slides. So if you don't choose if you don't choose add to theme, then it'll just only make the slide you have selected that color. But if you choose add to theme, it's going to change the background of all of your slides. So keep that in mind. If you ever do something and you don't mean to do it, this is a great button, right? It's undo. You can just click undo and it'll undo the last thing that you did, okay? But there sometimes is a point where you cannot undo. So just be careful when you're making mistakes, okay? This right here allows you to insert a line. This right here allows you to insert a shape. So there are different types of shapes that you might have. Here, you can see all of the shapes. There are different arrow directions. There are different bubbles if you want to write something in a voice bubble. And there's also numerical symbols as well. So you have a bunch of different options. When you're thinking about inserting a line, there's different types of lines that you can insert. So there are straight lines, there's curved lines, scribbles. Let's see what that looks like. So see, things like this you may not necessarily need, but it's good to know that they exist, right? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click undo because I don't need that scribble, okay? Let me show you something interesting also with lines. If you do insert a line, right, I made another scribble. Notice here this comes up. This gives you different ways to edit your line, okay? So you can put a point on the ends of your line if you want. How do you want your line to end? How do you want your line to begin? You have options there. You can't see it. I'll show you in a minute what it looks like. You can make your line dashed if you want. You can make it thicker if you want. So notice when I make it thicker, it's a little bit easier to see, right? You see that? So you have different options just to kind of play around for like designs and things like that, to be creative. This is a good opportunity to be creative as a student. Think outside of the box, make your presentation really engaging for your teacher when she's grading it. That's me. But I want to look at something that shows me that you put a lot of thought and effort into it, not that you just put words on a slide and moved on. Also, pictures. So you can put images in your presentation. You should put images in your presentation. I don't want to just see words on slides without any images that go with it. So here, when you're trying to insert stuff into your slide, this is a good place to go because it gives you a list. So if you go to images, you can do a couple of different things. You can, if you have images already saved on your computer, you can upload from here. If you need to get an image, right, you can search the web and that will help you to find images. So say I want an image of a cat. Okay, it'll bring up different images of cats. If I select an image, I can insert it. It's loading. Takes a little bit of time, you gotta be patient. And now I have a cat on my slide. I can make this image smaller, I can make it bigger. Okay, keep in mind, only things that are on the square will show. So if I make this cat too big, it's gonna be off the square and so it's going to be cut off. So keep your whatever, keep your text, keep your images, keep all of your information on this square right here. I'm going to stop this video now and I'm going to make a part 3 that's going to explain expectations for the slides and also how to find those expectations in writing on the YouTube channel. So I'll be right back.